So whether you're starting from scratch or you have a decent enough emergency fund and you're looking to build it up some, or like me, maybe you, used about $4,000 from your emergency fund for a beautiful patio furniture set, pictured here, instead of saving for it, this video will get you through end to end of how to save and why to save an emergency fund. Hi, my name is Nailea with Do Money. I work in finance and I do taxes. I love to share personal finance. So I'm starting a series on savings today. I'm going to evaluate my emergency fund. So come along with me and we'll figure out where I'm at, where I'm going to go, and how you can do it too. So what's an emergency fund? It is cash available to you in case of an unexpected life event, such as unemployment, such as your car breaks down, your phone breaks, somebody gets hurt or is hospitalized. These are all unexpected life events that are really actually expected, and you should have some money set aside to cover yourself for these. Any tiny slip up in an emergency that you don't have funds for can really cause a ripple effect and snowball into maybe interest, credit card debt that you don't want and you don't need for a long period of time. So how much do you save for an emergency fund? Typically, at bare minimum, you want to save 3 months of expenses. What does that mean? That means that you have to add up all of the bills that you have in a month. If you live off of $2,000 in a month, then that is 1 month's worth of emergency fund if you save up $2,000. If you're trying to save up 3 months of emergency money, then you want to save up $6,000, 2 times 3. My goal is to have 6 months of emergency fund set aside. So what that means for me is $6,000 times 6, so $36,000 is my emergency fund goal. Where I'm at right now is about $8,500, and that's nowhere near the $36,000. But don't get discouraged. Even if your emergency fund is $100, $200, $1,000, and you end up having to use $500 of it, you're using your emergency fund for its intended purpose, right? You are using it for what it's there for, and you can now continue to build it up to where it should be. Unfortunately, life happens and you'll probably never have exactly your emergency fund goal in your emergency fund because emergencies happen all the time. Your phone breaks, your car breaks down, you know, maybe someone goes to the hospital or has an unexpected medical expense. But for me, it's getting into that habit of saving for my emergency that allows me to stay out of debt and stay out of paying interest on my credit cards. So if my goal is $36,000 in total for an emergency fund, and I already have about $8,500 in there, I can't necessarily say that I'm going to get to that $36,000 in a year or 2 or 5 years. I have to look at my budget and see how much money I can put in on a monthly basis to my emergency fund. What I'm going to do is look at the amount of money that comes into my bank account and the amount of money that leaves my bank account and see if there's anything left at the end of the month that I can start putting in either weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly to my emergency savings. Now, where to keep this money is really important. It's important that it is in a safe place, most likely if you're in the US, that it's FDIC insured, so it's federally insured. Also, that it is earning a little bit of interest if ideally you don't necessarily care on an emergency fund if you are investing or earning interest or earning money on it, because it is there for the sole purpose of saving you from potential credit card debt or interest payments that you might have. Where do I keep my emergency fund? I have a specific savings account set aside on an online bank. So online banks that I recommend are like Capital One 360 or Ally or SoFi. I mean, really any of these online banks are pretty comparable these days. So you just go on the website, click open savings account, or you can even open a checking account with them, with the online bank, and you get a debit card with it so that you can actually access your emergency fund really fast. How I use my emergency fund is I have my online savings account. I link it to my checking account at my brick and mortar bank, which is like Chase or Bank of America or whatever bank account you use. And so let's say I have an emergency, my car breaks down tomorrow and I need to pay $1,200. I will use my one credit card that I have and pay the $1,200, and then I will turn around when I get home and I will immediately transfer funds for my emergency fund over to my checking account, which takes about 2 business days. Once that's in my checking account, I will immediately turn around and pay my credit card. So I don't forget that that's expenses on my credit card. And so I get it out of my life and out of my mind, and it doesn't have an emotional weight on me, because we all know that emergencies are emotional and money is emotional. So we want to try to separate that as much as we can. What I've done is set up an auto draft from my checking account to my savings account in an online bank so that I can automatically save. I don't have to think about it. It comes out, it's gone every 15th of the month, and we're done with that. And that way my savings account keeps building up. So once an emergency hits, then I know we're going to be okay. I hope this was helpful to you. I'm doing a series on savings. Follow me along on reevaluating all of my savings this year for next year.